So, Peter, how do you teach? If you were to use Zingarelli,
Yeah,
how would you build up? Oh, I see these have bases as well.
yeah,
Okay, wow, these are nice. So, how would you teach? Maybe to if we go back to your screen,
yeah.
like maybe you could just take as an example for one of those Partimenti on the screen, like maybe one of the anyone you want, like how would you conduct a lesson just like for maybe a few minutes, like if you're working with somebody, can you describe like the back and forth, your discussion with the student and the playing, what you would prompt them to do? How would a Because I'm sure a lot of teachers would be really interested to know your teaching method.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I think it's important to start with the basic materials. So I find that the Durante school and the setup of the Durante school um, better to use in the beginning than what you see in the Leo school. The easiest pieces in the Leo school are often very difficult for modern players, and because they start with double counterpoint right away.
Mm.
And if you haven't had the extensive training of having sung like lots of Leo solfeggi and if you already have learned a lot about double counterpoint in the singing lessons, then it's very difficult to start with these Leo pieces. So I think for modern users, Durante is more accessible and easier to start with. So what I usually do is I create sound files. So I make recordings of the cadences, and I make a lot of variations on every cadence. So if you get a new cadence in
Three voices.
three voices, yes,
Okay.
and those elements they you get them back. I mean, the cadences you have them in every piece, regardless if it's a small one or a big one. There are always cadences. So it's very smart to start with that. Yeah. And so after a while, when you've done a lot of like three-part writing in the beginning for modern plays, I mean, we are accustomed to think in outer parts. I mean, that's what popular music does a lot of the time, and you think in chords. So for modern players, the best way to start is to break that verticality and to start working on lines. And so maybe the first year or so, I think the linear way of listening and the linear way of playing and the evaluation of everything you play from a linear perspective is is really very good, very helpful. And when you've done that and you have learned all these elements, then you need to put them together in phrases, in small phrases.
Oh, you just do cadences, just a cadence. That's it.
Yeah, just the
No,
case,
no partimenti, just working with cadences.
not
One
in the
five
beginning.
one, 1 3 4 5. Just the baseline.
Yeah, so pom 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 like that, and you get 10 different versions of a cadence, and I mix them up in different keys, and I flip the voices, and I do a lot of variations with just one cadential pattern, and that's exactly what the Neapolitans did. They varied and varied and varied, and so and this is also typical for improvisatory methods, because if you have a lot of exercises with the same length, right, then you can exchange the solutions between them exactly as you learn in jazz. Yeah, in jazz, if you have a 2-5-1 pattern and you learn a lot of licks over a 2-5-1, then you can exchange them and you can reuse things. Yeah, and when you get to a piece and you see a 2-5-1, then you all of a sudden have like 20 different options to choose from. That's how you get the improvisation going, and it's exactly the same as Durante does with his cadential formulas. So you learn
S-
to vary and to improvise, to become a little bit free. Yeah.
So then you do short ones like mate. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So then come the
That's a
free.
good. I think that's a good segue. I think to your the mate edition. I think maybe we could talk about that.
Yeah. So I could show. Um, um, I mean, we could start to just take a look at some of these the piccolibassi, the small ones, because that's what comes next after the cadences, scales, sequences, right? So if I would choose one, for example, um, let's take E flat major, this one. So if we look at the number 38, yeah, then you see something like that. I have to move on a little bit. Like that. So just to learn to create good lines um, over a notated bass line, to make a good, to learn to listen to the middle voice and to concentrate on the middle voice. Maybe sometimes also singing the middle voice, adding your voice to the middle voice while you are playing, and to get this linear way of thinking. Yeah, and it's very fascinating to see how Mate then reuses those kind of materials in the ripieni. If you see, this is a little bit from the forward of the new edition.
One
With the
second, Peter.
yeah,
What's a ripieni?
yeah, ripieni is a, yeah, well, we could call it the Partimento also, but it's a piece that is slightly longer, a prelude you could call it. Yeah. So here you see the piccoli bass, the small bass, number 9 and number 44. And number 9 goes like this. Like that. And the number 44 does something that's also characteristic. And if you look at the ripieni, what he does, so here starts elements from the number 44. So you really see that he reuses elements that the students already have learned to play, maybe in different keys, but they get it back and they recognize it, and they have to create a piece and see, okay, why do I use this element here? Is this a transition, or is it a theme, or how do I use it? So it's also, you see that in these pieces that there is a reflection going on about how pieces are composed. Yeah, in the piccoli bassi, it's mostly like imitating and making variations and and getting the skills to just work out something contrapuntally in a proper way. But in the ripieni, it's much more extensive because the pieces grow in scope, and the theme reappears in new keys. So you can also like analyze the piece in sections, and then you see also like transitions between the first theme and when the theme gets back in the dominant key, for example, what happens in between. And from these ideas, you learn how to do similar things yourself. If you have a versetto, a little piece of maybe just one phrase, can you turn this one little phrase into a piece of 4 or 5 minutes? How do you do that? So that's a very interesting question. So how can you turn a little idea into a larger, like, free composition, or free? It's still connected to an idea, but I mean, you can use any idea and turn it into a larger piece if you have a harmonic trajectory and you have some basic ideas for how to modulate. So I imagine that these are also exercises in learning how to set up a piece from an idea that you maybe have learned to play.